Welcome back to the channel again, guys. We are working on the truck this time, and it is finally time to delete the EGR. I just wanted to put this out there that this is an off-road option, and I'll be removing it and installing an off-road kit, and then installing the EGR back on for highway use. If you plan on using your vehicle for the highway, you are not supposed to delete these, and yeah, so we'll just leave it at that. This is not a tutorial on how to do it, it's just how I'm doing it, and it's for entertainment purposes only and not meant to be used on the highway. So anyways, let's go ahead and get to work. We'll see what the kit looks like. So Synthetic Off-Road sent a whole box full of flanges, hardware, and your up pipe and your charge pipes and your coolant bypass and some block off plates. So fairly straightforward, only a handful of bolts and then some intercooler piping. So let's go ahead and get the tripod set up and try to remove the unit. I might add that this is me just kind of teaching myself how to do this. Not really sure exactly how to do this, but from the looks of the piping and the kit that I got, it looks fairly straightforward. So hopefully we don't mess anything up. So good luck to us. So from what I understand, this is kind of your moment of truth as to whether or not you know your EGR has failed. If there's antifreeze in that tube and there's only just a little bit of oil, so that's a good sign that we did this preventative maintenance before it failed.
Black windows once you go down. You must be crazy if you think that I'ma slow down. I wanna hear it talking shit, fuck the drama. Keep it coming, I'ma send you to your mama. Mr. Whip, whip, get the guns out. Dropping bodies in the place till the sun's out. Can't fuck with this, I'm going to try. Just when the bullets fly, I'm the last one to die.
Well, the one thing I did learn is that when you take this off, I anticipated losing a little bit of antifreeze, but as soon as you pop that one off, the whole thing empties out. So you could do yourself a favor and block off that hose down there, this one, so that you don't lose all of your antifreeze. That would have been smart of me, but like I said, first time attempting this, so we'll have to give this a good clean.
Pulling up black windows once you go down. You must be crazy if you think that I'ma slow down. I wanna hear it talking shit, fuck the drama. You keep it coming, I'ma send you to your mama. Mr. Whip, quick clip, get the guns out. Dropping bodies into place till the sun's out. Can't fuck with me, so don't even try. Cause when the bullets fly, I'm the last one to die. Pulling up black windows once you go down. You must be crazy if you think that I'ma slow down. I wanna hear it talking shit, fuck the drama. You keep it coming, I'ma send you to your mama. Mr. Whip, quick clip, get the guns out. Dropping bodies into place till the sun's out. Can't fuck with me, so don't even try. Cause when the bullets fly, I'm the last one to die.
Okay, in the kit from Synthetic Off-Road, they give you your bypass valve, the O-rings, and the hardware. Make sure that when you put this on, it has the washer and the lock nut, otherwise the shit'll vibrate off of there. And we're gonna put some RTV sealant around this too to make sure it gets a good bond. All right, got the first piece on, and that is your bypass. So we'll run a hose from here up to here, and it'll circulate. And I made sure to get that one on there first because, as you can see, I have pissed antifreeze all over my driveway, so I wanted to get that plugged up as fast as possible. Not that there's anything left in the reservoir, but you know, oh well. Okay, so for the preventative maintenance, I believe this is the culprit. If you can see in there, this valve is what cracks and sends coolant into the turbo line. And this one is not leaking, which is good.
Get on my head. 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 Get on my head.
So for the up pipe, you have to take the tire off. Easiest way to get to it is through the fender well. So we got to take this off, take the fender well out, and then we can get the bolts out on the up pipe. Here, I'll get you guys a good look. So this is what we're after right here. And it's got bolts right there, plenty of room to work. And then those bolts right there, those two right there and right there, we should be able to get with an extension. And then the third one is at the top. So the hardest part, I think, is gonna be the ones on the back of the EGR tube on the front. So let's go ahead and get these out. All right, so we got the pipe out, and not too bad. Reuse the factory gaskets, put that new one in. Okay, we just got to tighten that one on the very top because the one that came out was a studded section, and they provided an extra bolt I don't really know how I feel about the nylon on the back of that. I guarantee you that's going to heat up and melt out the nylon, and it'll probably work its way out. So I might actually go in and see if I can find a lock washer to put on that, and then we'll go up top and we will tighten it down. Show you what I'm talking about. See that new nylon bolt? That just won't stand heat. Bottom two are tight, so let's find a lock washer and then we'll go put that one on. Got a pretty good view from right here. You might not see it after I get in there, but we'll try to get the shot. All right, one last exhaust step. We need to get those, I don't know if you can see them, but we need to get those 3 bolts out, and then this piece will slide out from the front and this will come out. That's the last exhaust piece. Then we can put it together.
There's someone to save me. I can't find myself. I'm totally lost.
Okay, well, I got that pipe out. Pretty sure I didn't get it on video. It's about 10 minutes to get that out. And I looked up and my focus wasn't right. It was looking at the top of the engine. So that sucks. Next, we're gonna plug off the antifreeze, the coolant port, which I think you can see it. It is right here. And you plug this with that little nipple up so you can pull it out if you need to. And then a little RTV on that, and it goes in there and plugs it. All right, my phone is about to die, so we will pick this up. But in a nutshell, we're going to put the block off plate on that, which that's the block off plate right there. And you use the supplied hardware. And then got a nice little shot of the turbo right there, which is cool. After we get the block off plate on, then we can put this tube on and the other intercooler tube. So I'm going to put this phone on a charge and put the last couple pieces on, and then we'll check back when we go to retune the vehicle. All right, guys, it is the next day and I've got it pretty well put together. The boots fit flawlessly. We got the intercooler piping on, put a little gasket seal around that and then put that on. What else? Polished the C on the Cummins, clean that little plate up and put that back on with some new bolts just to dress it up a little bit. Still need to put 1 bolt in the heat shield in the back, and then we'll put the intake on and retune it. I already had 1 tune downloaded. It was the 65 horse tune whenever I did the DEF delete, but I'm just gonna retune it. I think I'm gonna put the 100 horsepower on there now that I know that the engine's not compromised with the EGR issues that they have. I think I'll be all right. So we'll do that. And then I have to put the intake on. And I'm kind of debating on whether or not, excuse me, whether or not to drill a little nipple on so that I can put this crankshaft vent tube on there. Because I keep getting, at least I think it's a crankshaft vent tube. It goes all the way down. It might actually be the differential vent tube. Anyways, we'll get the intake on, get that heat shroud buttoned up, and then, you know, some people actually get rid of those heat shrouds. because it does look kind of shitty, but I think I'll be able to fold that down and put a bolt right there where the EGR was bolted in, just so I have some heat protection. Either that or I'll fold that section back and just use the exhaust mounts, just that one and the one over there. Some people actually take them out, but I don't necessarily want to take it out with all of that exhaust right there. I'd rather have that heat protection against the firewall. So we also need to run the cable for the Cummins cable for the tuner, because I'm going to leave the tuner in the truck this time so I can clear codes and check codes as they come up. Whenever I was driving it up north, the code came up and I couldn't check it. I stopped at AutoZone. They plugged their machine in. It wouldn't read it. I think there's just something with the tune. It just won't read it. So anyways, let's go ahead and finish buttoning this up, get the antifreeze topped off, and then we will spray off the engine and spray out this fender well inside there, put the fender liner back in, and then we'll start it up. Okay, we got the shroud on, we got the intake on, and I plugged in your Titan cable will plug in right here. There's a little black plug with a cap on it that's mounted to this box. That's where that plugs in. I just ran it up behind that box and then zip tied it along here, and it goes straight back through that right there. You could probably poke a hole, but I just pulled the seal aside, and I'll just seat that a little bit better here in a second. I also drilled a hole in my intake for that ventilation tube. I had an old vehicle, it was like a Subaru air intake in my garage, and it had the vent connection on it. So I unscrewed that out of there, drilled a hole for it, and then put some sealant around the outside of that so there's no air leaks, so that I could hook up my vent tube. So everything is tightened down except for this. I gotta just pull that tight. Now I can tighten that band down, seat that seal a little bit better, and then we'll put the 100 horse tune in the truck. At the same time, when we run it, I'm gonna run it for a couple minutes with this open. Actually, no, I'm not, because that's gonna leak. We'll keep an eye on the coolant level and make sure that we keep topping that off, because it did lose quite a bit in there. So squish that back and forth to make sure we get all the air bubbles out of it, and we'll run it with that cap off for a little bit just so it can get rid of all the bubbles at the same time, kind of priming this tube so that it circulates through the radiator and the engine. And then we'll put the cap on it and test drive it. So let's go ahead and we'll actually clean it real quick, give it a good spray down, and then we'll put the tune in. Okay, we got her all cleaned up. I sprayed out all the soot and shit that I scraped out of the intake. It wasn't terrible, so I probably just leave it for now, and a little while down the road maybe I'll pop off that intake and clean it with it once I get a new filter or a new seal. Cleaned out the fender liner, put that back in. Wheels are torqued. Now let's tune. So for my Easy Link, it came in right through there, and I ran it behind my pedals and then just dropped it behind that little plate right there. See, it's plugged in, it just runs back, and it's right behind there. All you need is a Bluetooth connectivity, so it doesn't need to be out unless you have the SODIF, the switch on the fly, which I don't. I just do single tunes. So let's go ahead and get it in accessory position and link up. I can't use my phone and record at the same time, so I'll go ahead and get that tune reinstalled, and then we'll go for a test drive. All right, well, we got the tune installed, and it was a very rough first startup. Took a couple times for the truck to actually catch up to itself, and then the belt squeaked like horribly, just until all the water and antifreeze that was dumped all over them during the process dried up. But overall, it seems pretty happy. Now we just got to test it out. Coolant levels are good. We'll go for a test drive. Okay, well, we're off-road and testing it out, and it doesn't really drive much different in my opinion. 65 to the 100 horse tune, I don't honestly see really any kind of difference. I'm going to leave it on for a couple days and we'll see how that goes. That should be it. I did, when I plugged in the tune, notice that, here, I'll turn it around. I did notice that the trouble codes that I was getting were actually the lost. It said, what did it say? I'll post a picture of it here, I'll show you. So the top one, where it seemed like it was just losing connection or communication with the turbocharger. So that tells me that maybe it's that turbo control module that's on top of the engine that everybody screams for about $500 to replace if you buy it from the dealer, and it takes them forever to get it. There's actually a guy locally here that has 2 of these trucks that he is salvaging, so I might actually see if he has one of them that I can just keep in my back pocket for whenever that thing completely poops the bed. But overall, I don't really see much of a difference. I hope I will in the long run with this vehicle. And yeah, next thing up, I just have to do the oil change here in about 2,000 or 3,000 more miles, and we'll go all AMS oil on the engine and some new filters. But yeah, that's it. I'm hoping that this helped anybody that's trying to do this kind of maintenance on their vehicle. And don't forget, like, subscribe, share the channel. Thanks. Have a good day.